Thank you for joining us. I'd love to hear more about the initiative to move to a $15 minimum wage. All of the Marquis Co restaurants, including HipCityVeg, are moving there. Can you talk about the inspiration for moving to a minimum wage?
Yeah, this is such an exciting time for our company. 15 for our families is our commitment to raising the minimum wage at our restaurants for our entire team to $15 an hour. And that is starting this July of 2021. I believe it's really the next important step toward growing our company and our culture, and in some way, building the world we want to live in and communicating through our actions how much we value our team and the people who helped us get through this past year. It has been such a difficult year filled with challenges, and our team continues to contribute to our success. So it's in a way giving back to our employees and also looking ahead at the future at what type of company we want to be and really aligning our actions with our core values.
Yeah, and so I'd love to kind of hear more about how these benefits will help employees. So you talk about $15, but does that include healthcare and sick days? How does that sort of factor into it?
This will more than double both the federal minimum wage and the Philadelphia minimum wage. But more importantly, it gives people who are looking to build a career a place to both start and to grow. I'm reminded of one of my dear employees. He's a manager with us now at our DC DuPont location. And he started off as a line cook with us in Philadelphia at $11 an hour. And he's so talented. We moved him up to $15 an hour with some additional responsibilities as a shift supervisor. He quickly became an assistant manager and then went to DC to open our newest store in Washington, DC. He's such a success story and such an asset to the company. And I just think about his journey with us and how important that was to our success and his professional success, that it just feels right to do this for our company and our work family. We find that a lot of our team really, they feel good about being able to work for a company with a larger mission to make a positive impact on the planet and people. And that is definitely the way of the future.
Yeah, and it's interesting because during this time, a lot of food workers have become essential workers, but people don't really view the food and restaurant industry as a career path. And so moves like this are working to make it more of a career path and of a professional career path, and people can view restaurant workers as professionals and not workers. It's a job and it's a career.
Absolutely. At HipCityVeg, we've always been committed to the growth and development of our teams at every level of the organization, because we really believe that when we treat our teams with respect and care, they reflect that right back to our customers. I was just talking to Crystal, who now is our head of training and talent development. And she started off working at the first HipCityVeg with me when I was at the cash register. She was our assistant manager. She came in really excited about the company and quickly grew to now be part of the corporate team as head of talent development. That's such a beautiful story, and it means so much to me and to Crystal herself. And I really hope to create career opportunities, not just jobs, for people who dedicate so much of their time to furthering our mission at HipCityVeg.
Yeah, and a lot of the differences in pay scale are tipped wages versus a straight minimum wage. So how do you guys handle that at your organization?
Yeah, so our most of our tipped employees at the full service restaurants, Bar Bonbon and Charlie Was a Sinner, make far more than $15 an hour with tips. So with this move, we are guaranteeing tipped workers like bussers and runners and barbacks a minimum of $15 an hour so that they're really able to have increased confidence and stability.
And so what is the current wage for all of these tipped workers? So how much will you be having to raise it, in case it's a really slow day?
Absolutely. So HipCityVeg is all hourly workers. We don't have tipped workers at the fast casual restaurant. So this is really going to affect about 75% of our Philadelphia workforce at HipCityVeg. At the full service restaurants, Charlie Was a Sinner and Bar Bonbon, if it's a rainy day, if sales are down, this could tremendously help a busser or a barback that might not get many tips at all during a shift, because we're going to guarantee that they make a minimum of $15 an hour during their shift.
And what was the previous minimum wage that you guys have been using at Hip City Veg that you're now increasing to $15 an hour?
At HipCityVeg, the average hourly rate is between $11 and $12 an hour. So this is going to have a positive impact on about 75% of the Philadelphia workforce at HipCityVeg.
And how are you, that's an extra $3 to $4 an hour. How
Yeah.
are you guys as a company offsetting those costs? Are you raising prices on menus? Are you telling customers? How are you going to offset that cost?
You know, with this move, we're able to focus even more on offering careers rather than jobs, which is key to growth and key to our employees' growth. So while this may add costs in the short term, because it will, it's going to add costs in the short term, we also believe that there will be significant savings in retention and especially in turnover. So we really look at this as part of the costs that go into our pricing, just like we would with rent, food, and everything else that we invest in. We really believe that our people are our greatest asset and that this is a good investment for the company as a whole.
So will customers see prices raised on menus come July, or will it be a subtle move, or will you tell them?
It's a subtle move. We do have normal, natural annual increases to cover increased produce cost. We use organic produce whenever possible and local ingredients whenever possible. Our plant-based proteins are also considered specialty items, which are very expensive. So these, constant price increases are offset by gradual menu price increases. So even though it will increase costs short term, we're really taking this and looking at this with a long-term view. Okay, it's going to increase costs right now, but long term, we see significant savings coming into play.
And so you talk about, price increases because of rent or because of food, but do you plan on communicating to customers and saying, look, it's important to us that our employees make $15 an hour, so you're going to see increases? Because you guys are pretty big talking about legislation and you want to make a change. So are you going to tell customers, this is what we're doing, we want you to know?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be really important to communicate this effectively to our customers. And I think our customers feel really good about buying food from an organization that cares so much about their employees. I think a lot of our customers come to Hip City Veg because they want to do good and feel good about what they're buying. They know that it's plant-based, so it's better for their health, it's better for the environment. And now they'll be able to really know and feel secure knowing that Hip City Veg provides $15 minimum wage to all of its employees. So again, I think doing this for our employees is the right thing. It's also going to help business because it's increased confidence with our customers.
Right, and you guys are based in Philadelphia, where you mentioned the minimum wage is $7.25, which is the national minimum wage. And there have been moves to try to make some legislation, but they haven't really gone through. What do you see happening in Philadelphia locally? Do you see any sort of changes on the local level that you may be involved in, or do you just hope that you are going to make the changes that you can?
Yeah, this really is the right thing for our company right now. I think every restaurant and company has its own unique challenges. We learned so much in the last year. And when we were all in the trenches together, we learned that our company is a team of leaders with an entrepreneurial mindset. And that's what it took to get through this crisis. And we realized more than ever that our people are our greatest asset. And we looked at this opportunity and said, this is yet another moment to be bold, to do what's right for our teams that worked so hard during this past year to keep us afloat. So it's good for people, but it's good for business as well. And we think it's just going to help our teams to be even more cohesive, really strengthen the culture. We have plans for growth over the next 3 to 5 years, and we need the best and most committed people to take that ride with us. And I think we're all going to benefit by doing so.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned growth because you're in Philadelphia, but you're also in Washington, D.C., where the minimum wage there is higher than Philadelphia. So you had to pay more there to employees than you did in Philadelphia. So will having a standardized wage help you guys grow a little bit quicker?
We learned a lot from our general managers who are working so hard in DC. They've already shown us how to manage a restaurant efficiently and effectively with $15 an hour being the minimum wage and keeping costs in line and just adding so much value to their workers' lives, but also really keeping our core values aligned with our actions. So we're taking their example and bringing it here to the rest of our company in Philadelphia.
That is great. And I'm so glad that you guys are making this move. It's very important to the industry. So
You know,
you're good.
Thank you so much. I think as a restaurant community, we also got closer during the pandemic and we joined together to advocate for all of our shared needs. So every business is really doing what they can to bring workers back as the economy rebounds and improves, which hopefully in a month or so, we're going to see even greater improvement and things will get easier for everyone. So our approach is to hold on to our employees for the longest time possible now that we're getting back to stronger sales.
Well, that's great. And I wish you guys the best of luck. So
Thank
thank you so much for speaking with me today.
It was such a pleasure. Thanks for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Be sure to check out more independent restaurant news content at restaurant-hospitality.com.